you're thinking about moving to Plano, Texas, and you've probably heard a lot about, the good schools and the great neighborhoods and lots to do over in Plano and proximity to downtown Dallas. But there are a few downsides to Plano as well, so it's not just all picture perfect. And there's something that you want to know, and definitely stick around, because whenever I get to that downside, it's a couple of things that you definitely want to know before you make that move here to Plano. I'm actually down here in the historic side of Plano. Now, this is a cool little spot. I just came out of Lemma Coffee and got my iced Americano. There's also another cool little coffee shop down the way, which is 1418. But overall, I'm going to cover quite a few things in here that you need to know before making your move over here to Plano, because there's a lot happening. I don't want to get run over. That's for one thing for sure. But overall, when you look at economy, jobs, things to do, then there's quite a bit that's happening over in the Plano area. And we'll start off with the economy, because that is a good side to Plano, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why so many people are making their move here, because it is a hot spot for job growth. There's actually currently about 270,000 job positions here in the Plano area. Plus, it's a pretty big spot where companies and corporations are moving to. If you head over to the Dallas North Tollway and Sam Rayburn Tollway, which is 121, right there off in that corridor, they're basically building another downtown Dallas. That is where you will have a lot of high rises going in, and companies and corporations making their move over. Plus, you got some pretty big name Fortune 500 companies. You've got Toyota, Chase, Liberty Mutual, JCPenney, and several other corporations that have just recently opened the Ryan Tower over there as well. That's going to be brand new as far as companies moving in. But it seems to be this hot spot to where everyone is moving their businesses, which is pretty nice. And it's pretty active today out here. A lot going on. You can see right over here all the historic shops. We got some jams going on. I love they've got the original red brick streets running through here, which is really nice. And overall, the Plano unemployment right now too is less than 3.2% on average, which that is lower than the national average. And if you have everything you need as far as healthcare, IT, and also medical, well, that would be in healthcare, but also telecom, oil, all of that is happening here in the Plano area. So there's quite a bit as far as job opportunities. And if you're relocating from out of state, then that's probably a location that you might get sent to, is in that Plano-Frisco border. Now, the cool thing about that is that that does give you your choice whether or not you want to live in Plano or Frisco. So overall, you want to really kind of consider both options. Now, the median income in Plano is going to be over $100,000, actually around $110,000, and I think that's kind of low, but I know they've got to factor them all in there. So overall, it's still a pretty high price area. Now, on top of that, the job market is expected to grow over 44% over the next decade. Now, this is the reason why I just don't see a big crash happening in the Dallas market, because we are growing so much and so many companies and corporations are making their move here, because this is a business-friendly, tax-friendly environment and freedom-friendly environment as well, which is why we love being in Texas. Then it is something that they are taking advantage of right now. And it just doesn't seem to be slowing down. And of course, with the projections of growing 44% over the next decade as well, then that also indicates not a lot of slowdown. So overall, I'm going to cover really 5 more topics whenever it comes to the upside of living in Plano, and I'll give you 6 on the downside. And like I said, number 3 is one you'll want to stick around for if you're kind of keeping count. All right, so number 1, definitely job market, economy, even proximity to downtown Dallas. I could throw that in there as well, because you're about 20-25 minutes from downtown Dallas, and that is depending on traffic, which we'll cover that here in just a minute. All right, so number 2 on our list is really going to be high quality of life, and it's not too shabby when you're in Plano. I mean, if you live in Plano, not a lot of people feel bad for you, okay? It's not There's just a lot of good things happening, and it gets ranked as one of the best places to live quite frequently. And wow, I almost just got completely ran over by somebody taking that curve way too fast, and I was in the crosswalk, which means I was in the right of way. But the right of way doesn't mean anything when you get ran over by a reindeer, right? Oh, maybe I'm going to go over this way a little bit. So now I'm just going to cross right back to where I almost lost my life there for just a minute. And there's a blind spot too. There was a car in the way, so I don't want to feel too bad. But anyways, but it's funny, there was a recent article in Wallet Hub that actually ranked Plano as the #1 spot for staycations. Now that is news to me, but overall, look at that. Oh, look at that real old, cool, old-timey mural right there. But we're right across the way. There's a park over there, and I'm coming back around onto the main street, and we'll head over there to the park. But there's this dessert shop over here, literally called Better Than Sex. Okay, so it's only open from 6 to 11 p.m. So they're really catering to a crowd that wants a really good dessert in the evening hours. Pretty interesting. Oh, and you can see, look at this. This place has all this open seating over here. Got the Fillmore Pub, a lot going on. But maybe I'll venture over to the park so I have a little bit more safety going on here. But also, Plano's known for having over 4,000 acres of green space. So there's a lot going on. Probably one of the most popular parks and largest, maybe even in the Dallas area, is Oak Point Park, which is over 800 acres. So, we get accused of being in Dallas and not having much going on when it comes to mountains or beach, which is true. We have neither of those. But we do have lakes, we do have parks, we do have green space. And okay, you can see driving is terrible here these days. There's just not a lot of respect for the pedestrians over here. All right, no, let me take a little break because the walking and talking is almost getting me taken out here a little bit. But as far as the stats go for things to do as well, there's over 167 miles of bike trails, 94 miles of walking trails, and they say 3 out of 4 residents live within a 10-minute walk of a park. And the city does spend quite a bit on their parks and recreation. So if we jump back over and continue our walk, I think I'll be mostly safe in the park here, which beautiful day, by the way. Then this is something that I do like Plano as far as one of the northern suburbs. You've also got spots like we just came over from Legacy West. We had brunch over there, stopped in at True Food Kitchen, which I like it. I love their blueberry pancakes. They're amazing. And then I got some breakfast tacos to go along with that. And then we head over here to downtown Plano so we can stop and get some coffee. Cammie's gonna go over to the farmer's market, and you see there's a lot of activity. See all the playgrounds in the back over along there. Kids are out there running around having a great time. Looks like they've got some sort of event going on here, maybe some type of wedding or something like that. Oh, I guess the farmer's market is closed. You got a cool little farmer's market right across the street. It's kind of late in the day though, so usually those are open till noon or 1 p.m. or something like that. But that's really a good spot. Last time I was in there, the peaches were in season, and the peaches just smelt amazing, by the way. So overall, I think quality of life, you've got, and this is something else. You see all these trees? I want to say like this is where a lot of the huge trees stop, because as you move north into Frisco and Prosper and Salina, massive new construction. And of course, they saved a lot of trees in those areas, but you get into the communities, especially the new construction communities, and they have no trees. I mean, right? They had to bulldoze and plant new trees. And when you're here in Plano, you just get these massive trees all throughout the neighborhoods as well. But the thing is you're not going to find a lot of new construction here in Plano. These are very well established neighborhoods, and so if you find new construction, it'll be very, very small communities, maybe spanning like a block or a half a block. A lot of townhome communities, those are popping up. but you're not going to see the master plan communities that you're seeing in Frisco and Prosper and Salina. So if you're looking for something along those lines, then you're probably going to be more up north, heading up there a little bit more. But over here in Plano, well-established neighborhoods, older homes, a little bit dated, just depending on where you move into, and depending on your taste as well. Sometimes people are just fine with what they have and just move right in, and no big issues there. But overall, quality of life here, not a lot of people are complaining about living here in Plano. All right, so number 3 on the list is going to be the school system, because Plano has always been one of the highly rated school systems here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they actually serve over 50,000 students, and I believe there's 74 schools in total, so quite a bit. In 2023 alone, they say over 85% of the students graduated with A's and B's, which is pretty good, I think, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't rank the schools that often. But overall, the high schoolers, they say, take pretty good advantage of the advanced classes, with over 68% of them taking at least one AP exam. And Plano West, for example, and Jasper High rank among Texas best. So the elementary schools like Anderson and Wyatt and Matthews all score 9 out of 10. While high school graduation rates are around 92%, which is well above the national average of about 86%. So that's not too bad. And then on top of that, you've got nearby colleges, about 29 of them to be exact, whenever you factor in community colleges and local campuses, especially like University of Texas at Dallas, and that offers a lot of options for students here in Plano. They don't have to go too far, actually. Not too far away is the University of Texas Dallas campus, which is right on the Plano-Richardson border. All right, so number 4 on that list is going to be a pretty safe environment over here. Now, the thing is I can't really tell you what is safe or not, but what I can tell you is that there was a recent study in Smart Asset, and they just ranked Plano as the 3rd safest city in the U.S., which is pretty good. I mean, I think to be in the top 5 or the top 10 is pretty amazing, by the way. Now, I say that safety whenever it comes to, I guess, crimes, but clearly not when you're walking around, as I've almost been taken out a couple of times. Now, that also could be a little bit of my fault, since I'm walking and talking with the camera and maybe not paying too close of attention to my environment. Now, here is the dart rail system. I do want to pay close attention as I cross this, because the cool thing about this dart rail is this will take you all the way to downtown. So if you're commuting to downtown and you want to cut out the traffic, you could actually park over here and get on the dart rail and head to the downtown area. So that's convenient for you as well. But overall, again, you'll have to check all the crime stats online, but I can tell you that I don't hear a lot on the news about Plano at all. Yes, do you have your petty theft and things like that here and there? Yes. Now again, I also don't really do a good job of watching the local news, so I may not be your best resource, period. I was just stating the fact that that study in Smart Asset ranked Plano as number 3 in the U.S. as the safest city, and we'll just leave it at that. I think if you want to know all the details of everything else that's happening here, probably do the research there. All right, now this is kind of a cool spot behind me. You can see they've got a place for some concerts, a little live music, a little seating area, everything going on. But I'd say number 5 on our list right now of one of the pros living in Plano is the access to downtown. It's probably one of your best closest suburbs, although I don't know, Richardson, Addison, a couple of those other ones could be thrown in there. But Plano is really kind of seen as the biggest major suburb north of Dallas. And not only did I mention, like, you've got the dart rail right there, which you head into Frisco and beyond, you're not going to get that dart rail, at least as of now, but that'll get you to downtown. On top of that, Plano was actually recently ranked too as like the 7th bike-friendly city in the U.S., which I find that a little bit hard to believe, because I don't see any bike trails anywhere around here. Maybe it's just because people don't get run over on their bikes. That could be it. But overall, proximity to downtown Dallas. You're really about 20 minutes, 20 miles, I should say. Now, depending on traffic, if you're commuting in a car, which, by the way, over 75% of people commute in their cars to downtown Dallas from Plano. So if you're going during rush hour, you are definitely going to be in the thick of it. And if you're over here on the east side of Plano, you're going to be heading down I-75, which will always be backed up. Now, you might have a little bit of some leeway with the Dallas North Tollway, but that's going to be mainly if you're living on the west side of Plano. And if you live on the west side of Plano, then you'll see you're going to be paying a higher price regardless, and plus the tollway is going to be your major highway to get north and south into downtown Dallas, and so you're going to have tolls on top of everything else. You get over here to the east side, less HOAs, less gated communities, more of your starter homes, I would say, and then also a lot of older neighborhoods where you find out a lot of the ranch-style homes and things like that. But overall, if it's a beautiful day, no traffic, no accidents or anything like that, you could zip right down and be in Dallas in no time to get there for a concert. Now, if you're going to head over to the airport, you got this about the same thing, about 20-25 miles, give or take, if you're on the west side or east side, and you got pretty much easy access. You could take the George Bush Turnpike all the way over there, or 635. But getting to downtown Dallas shouldn't be too much of a problem. If you're able to leave a little bit later or leave a little bit earlier from work or leave a bit later from home, then you should be covered either way, because usually 75 will clear up just right after rush hour, right after around 8:30 in the morning. So if you can do that, and you're almost better probably to wait an extra half hour, 45 minutes at the house and then take off. You'll probably still get there at the same time, if not faster than you would leaving 45 minutes earlier and being stuck in traffic the whole time. So overall, proximity to Plano is pretty good. Plus, you're just south of Frisco, Prosper, Salina, everything that's happening up there on top of it. There's so much growth and opportunity happening north of here as well. You are really smack dab in the middle of what I call the Frisco being the new epicenter of Dallas. So I believe Dallas-Fort Worth will become Dallas-Frisco-Fort Worth, and Plano, you can take advantage of both worlds. All right, now you've got healthcare on the list coming in at number 6. Oh, it sounds like the dart rail is about to come rolling through. So you'll see. Actually, I'll walk this way a little bit, see if we catch the little train coming through here. Healthcare, by the way, Plano's ranked up there in not only the state but the U.S. And there's a couple of hospitals here, hospital syndicates, you could say, like Baylor Scott and White. You've also got Medical City of Plano, and they say per capita here, the doctors per 100,000 residents is around 1,200, and that national average is typically around 900. So an extra 300 doctors compared to everywhere else, which is pretty good because we do like our barbecue and our Tex-Mex here in the Texas area. So that could lead to maybe a few more frequent doctor visits. I don't know, if you're just going for all the heavy stuff. I mean, you get a good piece of barbecue. There goes the train, or the tram train, whatever you want to call it. More like a tram, dart rail, whatever that system is. Anyways, you got Urban Crust, good little pizza spot over here. We got the floral shop. I showed you I came out of Lemma Coffee over there just a little bit, and then I'm going to show you this place is actually real. Does look a little kinky. Look at this. Better than sex. They got some bows and ribbons and everything in there, and you can't get in there until 6. Got a little bakery boutique, a little jet pets for the dogs, which is nice. Oh, the steak company going here. That's what I'm talking about. Get you a nice piece of meat. Look at that. They've got that all dry aged. Look at those ribs. Can you see that in there? Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there. They got all that dry aged in there, which is nice. Looks good, huh? Doesn't it?
Yes, sir. It does.
And then you got a nice little bookshop. Oh, look at that. Yours unexpectedly. Really nice. And then we'll have to come in here and then say hi to our friend Chelsea. Say hi, Chelsea. So she's runs a bookshop. So see, we got friends around here, and we're just hanging out. And overall, yeah, healthcare options. That's what I was saying. pretty good, but like I said earlier, not everything's great, and there's a few things that you need to keep an eye out for as we move into really the downsides of Plano, and I've got 6 of those for you as well. Before we move into the downsides, oh, by the way, there's the other coffee shop, 1418. Really cool vibe they've got going down in there. But before we move into the downsides, I do want to talk about a little bit of real estate. And by the way, you know I'm a real estate guy. My name's Levi, for those of you that don't know. And we help people just like you make a very smooth move here to the Dallas, Texas area and all the surrounding suburbs. So overall, what I wanted to really discuss is that whenever I talk about the downside, which number one is going to be real estate prices and cost of living, because what you're going to see is cost of living is high according to everything that you see online. But actually, just a stone's throw away from here, you can find homes starting at $300,000. So when you come over here onto the east side of Plano, you're going to get a little bit more of that older vibe, and a lot of ranch style homes built in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and they'll be move-in ready, but a lot of them may not be updated to current standards or design standards, you could say. So it really just depends on your taste. So for me, I think you can find good properties here even as low as $300,000 for 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And again, could they use some work? Yeah, probably. I would probably want to do a little bit of work on them, but there is an opportunity to move in there. But whenever you look at the overall cost of living, it's going to say that Plano is going to be higher than the national average. So it just depends. Now, a lot of that time they just look at the median price, and that would be number one. Actually, I got a few stats on here for cost of living. If I were to pull that up real quick and see what do they actually say? Average home price in 2023 was $440,000, up 6.8% from $412 in 2022, compared to Texas on average $303,000. So they'll talk about, well, average home price or median home price is $140,000 more than the national average. Well, again, those were 2023 numbers. We got to look at 2024, and Dallas, I think, is still considered one of the largest metros with affordable housing still available in the area. But of course, yeah, you can get crazy up here as well if you want. And see what else they also say. They say you need a salary of at least $49,000 to live comfortably. Now, that is something I think is up for argument. A lot of people right now on $50,000 salaries are probably renting, even to get a $300,000 home with the current interest rates the way they are. That could be stretching it quite a bit. So I think what you want to do is you want to give us a call, and then we take a look at your situation, which is what we do with everybody. Everybody has their own individual situation going on, and we need to understand you and what's happening in your life a lot better before we can just say, yeah, Plano's the right spot, or Frisco, or Dallas, or yeah, let's look at these priced homes. We have to look at everything that you have, especially with your income, your expenses, your job, if you're relocating. All of that plays a factor. So I would be very weary of just looking at online stats, and then also, the narrative out there on top of it. The Dallas market as a whole still continues to grow. Will you see price drops in some areas? Yes, but you'll also see price increases in other areas because of the community, and always real estate boils down to being very hyper-local. Now, you look at most of the areas in Frisco, you're not going to see a lot of decreases. Maybe you will in new construction or something like that, where they've probably overpriced those homes in the beginning anyways, and now they're trying to move inventory. And that's the other aspect you got to look at for new construction. We featured a lot of price reductions on this channel as well, and it's not that those homes are losing that value. It's number one, the builders probably overpriced anyways. That's first of all. Second of all, they're building massive quantities of homes, so they've got to move inventory, and it's almost more important for them to move inventory than it is to make an extra $20,000 or $30,000 on a house. So they're willing to cut down right now. But I've been saying this for quite some time now, almost 2 years, that it is literally a buyer's market. Even though you heard that it's a seller's market, and the data may show that it's a seller's market, it's really a buyer's market for the time being. And we've been able to negotiate interest rates, concessions, discounts, all kinds of stuff, just depending on the situation. We can find a deal in any market, and that's the really key about reaching out to us, is because we analyze everybody's individual situation, just like yours, talk through that with you, and then make a plan of action that we can implement and go forward from there. So just keep that in mind whenever you're looking at stats and data online, or you're hearing a certain narrative. That'll bring us to our next downside, which is going to be traffic. I already kind of touched on that a little bit already, which you have to keep that in mind. I always like to use Waze app, because you can always program in Waze what time you need to be somewhere, and it will tell you what time you should leave your house. And it's always been extremely accurate for me, so I like that. I like that aspect of it, which is nice. You can see, oh yeah, look at this. Oak Point District, I just mentioned that earlier. Oak Point is the 800 plus acre park here in the Plano area. But overall, average commute is going to be 25 minutes, but then they also refer to this as super commutes, which could be up to 90 minutes just to get to downtown Dallas. And they say on average the drivers here lose about 65 hours a year in the car. All right, so I hope you like podcasts or audiobooks, or a big fan of listening to some Bon Jovi or some Poison or Whitesnake, right, in the car, singing along at the top of your lungs while you're stuck in traffic. Me, yeah, I'm gonna make phone calls, I'm gonna listen to podcasts, or yeah, I listen to YouTube. I'll play videos, I won't watch them, and I'll just set the phone down, listen to them, almost play a YouTube video like a podcast. If you haven't noticed, I'm a big fan of YouTube, by the way. But yeah, traffic, I mean, not much more to say to that than other, look, there's a lot of people, over 270,000 residents in Plano that deal with that. A lot of them do commute to downtown Dallas, and they're just fine, they survive. But it just really comes down to what you're looking for as far as quality of life, how much time you spend in the car, but I think it's extremely manageable. All right, number three. Is it three or is it three? I always think about that movie, Inglourious Bastards. If you've ever seen that, let me know in the comments about doing 3 or 3. All right, anyways, property taxes. Okay, yes, this is a biggie here, not just in Plano, but basically anywhere in Texas. I know we get the argument all the time. We have no income tax, which is a big pro, and I didn't bring that up. Maybe because I just think that everybody knows that there's no income tax in the state of Texas. But did you know that? You'll have to let me know in the comments. No income tax for the state of Texas, which I love because I'm trying to make a lot of money. No, just like anybody else. So the thing is, though, property taxes is how they make it up. Now, they just recently passed a bill for the largest property tax cut for your homestead in the state's history. So that should help bring a lot of relief to property taxes on your primary residence. But still, in Collin County alone, it's still on average 2.1%, which, by the way, we're in Collin County, where Plano, Frisco, Prosper, Salina, all of that stuff is happening. Collin County is the county north of Dallas County, of course, where Dallas is. And you can see that, I found me another little chair to sit, that property taxes is a big issue. And I know. Now, the thing is that if you're a 100% disabled veteran, you actually have no property taxes at all on your primary residence, which is really, really good. Now, I want to look at some of the stats here too, just because I want to make sure that I quote you accurate numbers. But yeah, on average, let's see, 2.1% for a $500,000 home. That could be almost $10,500 a year in property taxes, which I think is ridiculous. Is it just me, or do I think that property taxes are not fair at all whatsoever? I mean, I understand some sales tax or income tax, but even really income tax, I could argue with that, especially at the federal level. But overall, I think more on what we spend, that makes more sense. But property taxes, I mean, to me, it's like you really don't own anything. And I thought this was a country of ownership. But I know if I don't pay my property taxes, they're going to take my house away quite a bit. But let's see here. Now, let's see, compared to, it says 7,000 in Austin. Austin always seemed way higher. Anytime I've looked at Austin, they've averaged around 3%. But maybe it just depends on, or it has some of the suburbs taking down some of that. Let's see, Plano ISD sent $2.4 billion to the state since 1994, including $250 million in the 2022-2023 area due to the recapture system, which hurts local budgets. Let's see here. A local bond package proposes $316 million for streets and $155 million for new police headquarters. That's the other thing is the fire department and the police here in Dallas. We love you. We love you. And as a former service person myself, U.S. Army, combat veteran, I love our Dallas and police. I love our police and firemen. We do. But is it necessary $155 million headquarters? I don't know. And if you see some of the fire stations and police stations around here, they are crazy. They're amazing. Which, look, I'm not saying that we've got to give them crap. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. That seems like a lot. Anyways, that could raise taxes. For 2028, 2029. Okay, so that's a little ways out. But overall, the thing is that you do have to look at your property taxes. We always factor that in with your estimate on what you'll be paying on a new home whenever we look at everything that plays into that, because that does matter, especially for what you qualify for. And it's an expense that sometimes people don't talk about there, especially if you're working with the wrong lender or the wrong agent, that they don't talk about that or bring that up in conversation. We always factor that in so that you got a full picture of what your total payment's going to be. Now, whether you decide to escrow that or not, an escrow just means that do you want to pay your taxes and insurance along with your mortgage payment, or do you want to defer those and pay them in a lump sum at the end of the year? Completely up to you. But of course, if you break it down in a monthly payment, then that is going to matter on how you qualify. If you take them out and you don't escrow them, then yeah, maybe you qualify a little bit more, but you've got to also know that you will get hit with a big bill when it comes to taxes and insurance due at the end of the year. So overall, yes, taxes suck here in Texas, but there's things you can do for your homestead as your primary residence. There's things you can do if you're over 65. There's things you can do if you're disabled veterans, and a lot of things you got to look at. So overall, they're manageable. Of course, I wouldn't live here if they weren't, and millions and millions of other people wouldn't live here if they're not manageable either. And also, I think depends on possibly what you make. If you're making more money, if you have a much higher paying job or even a business, then you do appreciate the fact that you don't have income tax, at least at the state level, on that. And so for me, that is a big advantage, because I like not having an income cap or actually paying more on income taxes for the state on the more money I make. So, it's a give-take relationship, and you got to find out what's best for you. All right, so number 4 on the list for the downsides of living in Plano, Texas is going to be everything's spread out, by the way, which that's just Texas in general. We've got a lot of room to grow here, and on top of that, what is that? Looks like McNeil's breakfast. I think I just found a little hidden gem maybe here in the back, or maybe that's just the back entrance and I didn't find anything at all. But Plano covers over 72 square miles, which means everything you're going to drive to is probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes. Over 85% of the residents own a car here, and we're just a car city. That is the thing. Like I've been to a lot of U.S. cities around. Look at this. I've been to a lot of the cities, that's what I was saying, around the U.S., and I love their walkability and how everything is, just stacked on top of itself. Even a lot of the neighborhoods that are connected, you can walk to, and overall, you just miss a lot of that here in the Dallas area. Now, it's cool, yeah, you find something like this, downtown Plano, a lot of cool spots to hang out and walk around to, but, I can cross real quick. But, this is pretty much it within a few blocks here, where other cities you'll find blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. Now, if you go to like historic McKinney, bug just flew in my mouth. If you go to historic McKinney, that's got multiple blocks of things to do. McKinney, by the way, has the largest historic downtown area. Now, that's not to say you can go over to Legacy West, Shops at Legacy, like I talked about. There's some newer parts of Plano that you can walk around a little bit too, but you've got to drive to all these places. And actually, coming from Legacy West, where we were at eating brunch, it took us 15 minutes just to get over here to historic Plano. Plus, I had to get on George Bush, which is a tollway. So getting around, you're going to hit George Bush. It splits Plano kind of right in the middle whenever it comes to toll roads. And then you have the Dallas North Tollway on the west side as well. And you have that to factor in. And so you're going to need a car. If you're not a fan of driving, this is not the area for you, which would bring me to the next con, which is going to be public transportation. Yes, you do have the DART. Now, that is about the main thing happening in Plano as far as the DART. Other than that, bus systems or anything else really is almost obsolete, not worth it. It's just, and if you add that up, you think about the average car cost right now, I think is around $9,000 a year is the last stat I saw. So that's like $750 a month. And I don't know about you, but all the cars I like these days seems like they're $100,000. What happened? When did cars go to $100,000 or 90 or 80? It's like, my goodness. My dad was talking about getting this, what does he want? He wants a little Honda truck. I was like, you want a lawnmower for a truck? He's like, no, I want this Honda Frontier Ridgeline. That's what it was, a Honda Ridgeline. I was like, okay, cool. Let's look up some Honda Ridgelines. That thing was like $45,000, and it is basically an oversized lawnmower. And I just couldn't believe that. But I'm like, okay, well, actually, I can believe it, because every car that I like, which has everything, all the bells and whistles, is $80,000, $90,000, or $100,000. Oh, look at this. Oh, look, Preston's Cafe. Looks like a cool little spot right there. So, otherwise, public transportation, I wouldn't depend on it for your life. And needing to get everywhere that you need to go in Plano, it's going to be difficult to just live in a community and be walkable to everything you need. Are there some spots? But yes, that real estate's probably going to be more pricey as well. So just plan on having a car here. All right, last but definitely not least on the list is going to be weather. Now, currently it's a beautiful time right now in the Dallas area. I love it. I mean, pretty much all of spring, early summer, to me, is just perfect weather. Into summer, fall, even through the first month or two of winter, perfect weather. I mean, all the way up till December, sometimes even January. Actually, a lot of my Christmas photos with the family, we're wearing t-shirt and shorts and squinting in the sun. So a lot of times, yes, it's still 70 degrees in December and January. February is always interesting, always weird, like super strange back and forth, crazy cold, then warm the next day. March as well, just a little iffy. And then in March and April, we get possibility for tornadoes, hailstorms, all of that stuff. Yes, so that is something, but again, I've lived in here 25 plus years, never been hit with a tornado. Definitely heard the sirens from time and time again, but overall, I don't know. I like my odds, which are pretty good. And, oh, hello, how are y'all today? Look at that. Look who's there. Oh my goodness, I know those people. So, what are the chances we just passed each other's path walking down the street? But, yeah, in the summertime, it is hot, like super hot. And it's just unbearable for most people, by the way. They get that a lot. You should go to the end of the street. There's another little cafe. Check it out. But it's just hot. It's so hot. But I love it. I grew up in this. and I'm just used to it. Now, when I go to California, is it perfect there all year round? Yes. Amazing. Love it. It's paradise. When I go to the Pacific Northwest in the summertime, is it perfect weather? Yes. Amazing. Love it. When you go to Chicago in the summertime, yes. Amazing. New York in the summertime, sure. Yes. Amazing. But then the rest of the year sucks, like 10 months of the year. Well, not in California, but Pacific Northwest, you got a lot of rain. Chicago is unbearable. I lived in Chicago for a year, by the way. Absolutely brutal. That was actually back in 2013, and that was one of the coldest years on record for quite some time, and I felt it. And I've lived in New York a year as well. Really cool area. Loved Manhattan, and the weather just sucked most of the time. Nor'easters blowing in all the time. I mean, it was just something else. So here, I'm okay with some crazy thunderstorms, a little bit of hail. That hail, you do need to be mindful of that because that can damage your roof or your car. Make sure you get a house with a garage, ideally. And, otherwise, I haven't had any on my roof. It's held a couple times up in North Dallas, but nothing serious. And I have an older car that I leave on the street, and it wasn't even damaged the last couple of rounds. But not to say that it won't happen, because there's a lot of hail damage that can take place here in the Dallas area. But everybody's got their issues. Florida's got their hurricanes. The Northeast has their nor'easters. The West Coast has their earthquakes. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, where are you safe? The middle of the country does have Tornado Alley. We're like on the southern tip of Tornado Alley, so not too big of a concern. And again, have we had a few here in Dallas? Yes. Nothing crazy. Nothing massive devastation like you might see in Mississippi or Nebraska or Kansas usually. I mean, right? People live in those areas, and I've seen way worse devastation throughout there. So again, something I'm not too big on, but overall, if you can make it through July and August here in the summer, which, by the way, we go to the lake, we go to the pool, that's how we survive that. We have AC, we have tinted windows, we have screen, blackout, or not blackout, but energy saving screens on the windows. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. We have a lot of stuff that we take advantage of to minimize that as much as possible. So overall, it's all manageable no matter where you live, unless you live in Orange County, which has perfect weather all year round as far as I know. You're just gonna have to deal with it a little bit. But otherwise, spring, fall, and winter, I think, are amazing, except for February. February always sucks one way or another. And that's really what you need to know about living in Plano. And if you're thinking about making that move, just reach out. All of our information is in the description below. Happy to help you make a smooth move to the Dallas or Plano area. But then also you should check out this video on this amazing property we just toured that has quite a bit of acreage if you want to even be a little bit outside of the city.